Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory have been serving Quad City families and veterans since 1889. Whelan Presley Funeral Homes are located in Rock Island, Milan, and Reynolds, and are proud supporters of WQPT. Alternatives is a proud supporter of WQPT and has been serving our community for 40 years. Alternatives provides professional guidance to maintain independence and quality of life for older adults and adults with disabilities.
The great expansion that will better help empower women and families, and building better smiles, more confidence, and healthier children in the cities. The YWCA Quad Cities is entering a major new phase in its existence as it not only improves outreach designed to help women and families in the cities, but also greatly expand its footprint in the community. The YWCA is not only building a new headquarters at Rock Island, it is also looking for a big expansion at its Davenport Empowerment Center. And now it has more than $1 million to help with that expansion. We talked with the YWCA Quad Cities Executive Director Julie Larson about big changes and the new request for more help. The YWCA is really changing its footprint throughout the Quad City area. I mean, is this a huge change for the entire organization?
Yeah, we're really moving to add more programming and services to fill gaps in services in the community, especially among, the pandemic and COVID. I think it's really reiterated the need for specific services to help people rebuild and get back on their feet.
Well, let me start with that $1.6 million grant that's been awarded for you to continue your operations in Davenport, expand them, and it is part of that empowerment program. Tell me how that money's going to be spent.
Sure. So we've located a property prior to submitting the grant, and it's actually on Mississippi Avenue, just 3 blocks up from the current Empowerment Center. It's probably 10 times bigger than our current footprint. And so it'll allow us to expand programming services and serve more Iowans. And it's just on a big spacious lot, and it'll just give us so much more room to do the things that we want to do. When
you say Empowerment Center, I mean, that could encompass so many different things. What are you trying to achieve right now, and what do you hope to achieve in the future?
Sure. Well, and I think empowerment means something different to everyone.
Oh, so true.
And so we have an array of services. And so really what we try to do when a client comes in is make it low barriers to entry so that you can get served right on the spot. If you need food, if you need clothing, really looking at the immediate needs and fulfilling those, and then moving on to long-term goals. It could be educational attainment. It could be, they could be at a job currently and they want to get into the Google IT program or something different. We work with Eastern Iowa Community College too, so we would refer to them. It just depends on the individual.
We so often talk about a safety net in some ways because you're talking about programs that you think are already available elsewhere.
Right. And it's really connecting with the resources in the community, and so you refer. We don't need to reinvent the wheel and provide services that are already out there. So we just have our own little unique niche of services that we provide, and then we refer out for the additional services needed.
And once again, you've learned so much since the pandemic.
Yes.
Of the needs, and when you're talking about empowerment, or you talk about employment, or you talk about retraining, I mean, the need is there.
Oh, without a doubt, and it's really changed the delivery of services. So we remained open throughout the pandemic, obviously taking extra safety precautions, and we would give out the food, the clothing, any of the essential items. But then we got into the online through the YWCA USA. We received a grant from Google, and then we received one from Starbucks, and they allow us to deliver these programs remotely, which is great. Especially today, there are certain individuals, that are at home and they want to be able to do something like this and they can't, or someone who's working and they don't have time to go to a campus or an in-classroom session. it's done at their own pace. We obviously have a computer lab at the Empowerment Center, so if they want to come there and access our services, they can. We have laptops to give to them. We have hotspots, so we really try to make it as easy as possible, and then we offer the homework help and the support if they need it.
We're talking about actually 2 campuses because we're talking about Iowa right now, but what about Illinois? I mean, that red brick building in the downtown of Rock Island certainly served its purpose.
Right.
But now a Mac Daddy expansion.
Yes, we're so excited about this. Never thought we'd have a new building, and it's just 2 blocks up from where we're at right now. Our current facility is about 25,000 square foot. The new one's about 54,000 square feet. Very efficient. It's combining services from 2 buildings into one. We'll have an empowerment center there as well, but it makes sense to have satellite services so that they complement the Iowa services. We don't want to duplicate. We want to do things that complement each other. So, if you're in Illinois, you can access the Iowa services and vice versa.
Well, as you know, that river is a huge divide.
I know.
So, you need to have a footprint actually on both sides of the river. But the Rock Island doubling the size, when you think of the YWCA in the Quad Cities, you think of the Rock Island facility in so many different ways.
Right.
How will this growth really change what you're doing? Because the core mission that you have will remain, but you'll augment it and add other programs?
Yeah, really expand upon the programs that we already have, especially like the child care. It'll almost double our current capacity. And have environmentally friendly rooms. That the building that we're in right now is 68 years old. It was never meant for childcare. So it's kind of dark, and we don't have an elevator. There's just a lot of things that we needed to improve it. We don't have restrooms for the children within the classrooms currently, and that's important so that a staff person doesn't have to follow them out every other minute. And just little amenities like that. We keep the gym. The indoor gym was so important to keep. When it's raining out, snowing, and the kids need to let off some steam, it's just amazing. So we kept that. The pool will be expanded, more of a family environment. We're going to have a slide and a little lazy river and some other fun stuff for the kids.
You mentioned the child care, and I would think that, we're seeing it time and again, how critically important that is for the future of men and women at work, for families to succeed. How will the child care expansion occur? Because it is such a critical need right now.
Yes. Well, so we offer the Preschool for All program, and then we also have the Prevention Initiative, which is for infants and toddlers. So, by expanding our footprint, we'll be able to double the number of children that we were able to serve. And these services, the programs, they have a family component to them. So it really involves the entire family, not just the child enrolled in the center, which is important that, you meet the needs of the entire family.
Let's talk about the construction, though.
Yes.
We were talking earlier on the fact that, you make a budget.
Yes.
and anybody who's redone their house, you have the construction budget, things change. Things have dramatically changed when it comes to the construction costs for the Rock Island facility.
They have. We met our campaign goal last October.
Quickly.
We were so excited.
Yeah.
We did the groundbreaking ceremony, and then boom, some of the bids came in, out of line as to what we'd budgeted for. And it's one of those things that nobody could have predicted. We've seen the fluctuating prices, and we looked at changing materials. A couple of them we did change structures from one to another. And mainly that was for lead time issues, because if you don't have the roof on, you can't get the rest of the construction underway. So that was an issue in a couple areas where we made changes. But you just have to roll with the punches. It's really frustrating, but I think where there's a will, there's a way, and we're working hard to raise those additional funds.
Is there a new effort then as far as raising the additional funds? Because like you said, the capital campaign, which is always risky for any organization that's doing it, because is this going to work?
Right.
You can't go to the well more than once.
Right.
So what is the plan for trying to raise more money, and how much money are you looking at?
We're probably looking at about $2.5 million that we need to raise additional. We do have a campaign that's going to be coming underway that we've been doing some PR materials with, and really hoping to reiterate the need for the services that we provide. The cities don't per se provide a lot of these services, and we're really helping individuals to, get back, on their feet and help them through what might be the worst time in their lives, and, help them get housing, food, clothing, provide them with those employment training services so that they can get a job and be paying taxes. And, so I hope that people understand, what we really do and how we impact the community.
Yeah, and I was looking down because there is one program that you have that really does touch on that, is the YW Tech Lab, which is really centered on IT training. And let's be honest, the future of employment so much depends on IT. How successful has that program been, and how does somebody get involved?
Well, it's great. They can call the YWCA. We've got the phone number, or go to ywcaqc.org and get the information to call us. But it's really cool because it's the Google IT support certificates. Then there's a web development design. And Google actually opened it up to us, the whole suite of Google certificates. So, once you get one certificate, you can keep going. And there's also a board where you can put your resume on. And there's 50+ employers, we're talking Home Depot, Walmart, Google itself, that are looking for employees. And, what we found is the starting salary is about $55,000+ per year. So you can go from zero experience, to a certificate. And we've had people do it in less than a month. And, that's great, because people, they don't want to, everybody has a different timeline for completion, and some want to get it done and over with. And otherwise, if you want to take 6 months to do it because you have a family at home, that's perfect as well.
Tell me about the future for the YWCA. I mean, you have a core mission that you stick to, but these expansions on both sides of the river, does it change the mission for the YWCA? No,
I think it really helps us fulfill our mission. I think that it really adds those services, and we always look for gaps in services. We don't want to, again, reinvent the wheel. So we, the YWCA Teen Parent and Child Education Center, it's located in Rock Island High School. It came about in 1991. There's really nothing else like it, and there wasn't at that time. Our empowerment centers are kind of on that same pattern, the place to be for homeless and at-risk youth in the community. I mean, it's, we look for those gaps, and, but bigger isn't always better, so we just want to make sure that, we are serving the people very well with the programs that we have.
That's Julie Larson, the Executive Director of the YWCA Quad Cities. Well, welcome to October. Cooler temperatures, falling leaves, and plenty of pumpkin spice, it seems. But there's also some great activities around the Quad Cities that you certainly do not want to miss. Laura Adams keeps tabs on them all as she goes out and about.
This is Out and About for October 7th through 14th. The community-wide initiative Out of Darkness, Holocaust Messages for Today presents several events, beginning with Ballet Quad Cities' Our Will to Live, a new ballet honoring the works of Jewish composers at the Adler Theater on the 8th. October 9th, Truth First Film Alliance hosts 2 Oscar-winning films and a virtual Q&A with Oscar-winning director Krist Tashima at the Putnam Museum on the 9th at 3. Germanfest, with music by the Durndals, takes place in downtown Davenport the 14th from 6 to 10. The Cambridge United Methodist Annual Fall Review takes place the 8th from 8 to 2. The Village of East Davenport present Village Hops, a craft beer festival the 8th, plus there's a chili cook-off at the Bluegrass Community Club on the 8th. While Princeton hosts a 5K walk run on the 8th at Go Fish Marina. Silvis Main Street hosts their first fall festival the 8th from 10 to 6, or join the Empower House Spooktacular 5K and Fall Festival the 8th from 9 to 2. Church Basement Ladies Dinner Theater hits the stage at the New Era Lutheran Church in Muscatine on the 7th through the 9th. The Producers, the musical by Mel Brooks, finish their run at the Spotlight Theater this weekend, while Sylvia by A.R. Gurney is a dog love story, finishing this weekend at Playcrafters Barn Theater. For more information, visit WQPT.org.
Thank you, Laura. Lojo Russo is keeping herself busy this month with planned performances at the Freight House, Mississippi River Distillery, and Common Chord. We caught up with her when she played one of her originals at the Black Box Theater in Moline. That's where she took to the stage to play Restless Soul.
a sign down on Main Street, attracts me like a moth to a flame. Illuminating words, saying thank you, please come back again. It reminds my restless soul, I've been here too long, without a word or a whisper, going, going, gone. There's a girl back in Boston, remembers better me. When I took everything for granted, gave it all away for free. It reminds me of a time when I thought I could do no wrong. And like a fading photograph, it's going, going, gone. I am tired of running, from all the lies that I've sold. Comes a time and a place when you stand face to face with the weight of it all. Your heart hits a wall. There's a side to the story no one has ever heard. It's the side that's the truth, and the side where no one gets hurt. I'm reminded that history is written by those who are strong, and like pages torn and tattered, going, going, gone. I'm gone. I'm tired of running, from all my faults and regrets. Comes a time and a place when you stand face to face with the weight of it all. Your heart hits a wall. There's a sign up ahead telling me it's time to come home.
Lojo Russo and Restless Soul. Keeping our children healthy often requires regular checkups, updated vaccinations, a healthy diet, and exercise. But what about good teeth? The federal government says dental decay in children is the single most common chronic childhood disease. But since the pandemic, one group has been unable to get its free mobile dental lab out to the children who need it most. That's about to change. We talk with Bethany for Children and Families, Christina McNamara Schmidt, as the organization's Give Kids a Smile program gets into full swing. Give Kids a Smile, it's the mobile dental clinic, but it's been parked for basically 2 years. That's tough.
That's right. In March of 2020, we took it off the streets with the COVID pandemic just for safety reasons. So it's been sitting idle for quite a while.
So when does it hit the road again?
We're hoping for late fall, early winter, so before the calendar turns to 2023, we hope to be out in local school parking lots and delivering these services.
Okay, let's start with that. Is that, as we've learned, dental health is so critically important. If you think for a kid, it's more than vaccinations. Some kids have bad eyesight and that hurts their learning. Dental health can also really impact so many aspects of a child's learning and development.
Well, a child wants to have a healthy smile, and they want to smile, and they want their teeth to look good. We're out from behind these masks now for the most part, so these kids want to smile. I know my daughter got braces during COVID, and she didn't have to show them to anyone at all. But,
Perfect timing.
Right. But the dental health is important because it can affect your body organs and your body health, because there's a lot of bacteria in your mouth that can lead to kidney disease and heart disease and other things. So we want these kids to have a healthy mouth and healthy smile.
Well, and also, I mean, the development of their teeth is important at the beginning because it affects them later on as well. But let's talk about what's being offered at the mobile clinic. Is it just a checkup and then a pat on the head and move on?
We do exams and we do cleanings. We also do fluoride treatments and sealants if it's appropriate for the child. We do not do restorative care like filling cavities and pulling teeth in the clinic, but we do refer to community health care and to other volunteer dentists who take Medicaid, so these kids do get any problems fixed, because a lot of the kids that come in have cavities already brewing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was looking at this. Almost half of kids have at least one cavity. This is in the United States. 11% have more than 5. And this is from what we know. I mean, the key about a mobile lab, in my opinion, would be that you don't have to necessarily go to that scary dental office. I mean, you really want to go to the source of who you can help.
Well, and a lot of these kids, it's their first interaction with the dentist or any oral health care, and they can go in there with their friends and with their peers. So it takes that fear out of it a little bit, because some people are afraid of the dentist, so that's nice too.
Well, especially a kid, if it starts as a good experience as a kid, it hopefully carries on.
Right, and we try to connect them with a family dentist if they don't already have one. Anyone who has not seen a dentist in 6 months can come.
Talk about the need. I mean, it's been around for a while. The mobile lab has been around for a while. You've stopped at a number of schools. You've treated a number of kids. What have you seen as far as the impact is concerned?
Well, these kids do need the dental care. You know, it helps their overall health and their mental health in school, like we talked about. We do try to get them connected with a family dentist or community health care so they can get these cavities from turning into long-term problems, and school nurses are asking for it. You know, they know that kids need this. And that's usually who we work with to connect with schools that we can go to. We try to serve about 20 to 25 kids per time we go out.
Okay. And then how many stops do you think you're going to make during this coming season?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure about the number of stops. We're hoping to serve around 3,000 kids, so if you can do quicker math than I can,
that is huge.
You could figure that out.
Well, and if you think about it, I mean, 3,000 kids that may otherwise not get any attention at all, that makes a huge impact.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit also about what it takes to get this lab back out on the road. I mean, it's not collecting, mothballs and all that stuff. I mean, it was there, but still to actually get it to a school, there's a lot of prep work.
Well, we need to credential dentists and hygienists, and we need to get our database cleaned up so we know who to reach out to, because it's been a couple years. Some school nurses have left.
Right.
We did fire up the bus and bring it over to the offices yesterday.
Good.
And some volunteers from United Way came over on day caring, helped us flush the lines, and we sanitized the inside of the bus. We had some repairs done on the bus after it sat idle for a couple years. Reassembled dental bags that the kids take when they leave with, new materials. We had some expired toothpaste, and a lot of things need to be thrown out and updated. So we're on our way.
And where will it all go? I mean, is it just the Quad Cities or outlying areas as well?
We serve 3 counties in Iowa and 3 in Illinois, so it's a 6-county service area. About 60% of the kids we serve are in Illinois and about 40% in Iowa.
As you said, I mean, it's been parked for 2 years. Did you hear anything over the last 2 years? It's like, when is this coming back? We really need this.
This year we did hear, when is it coming back? We do need this. Yeah, I think over the past few years, people kind of assumed that we wouldn't be working inside people's mouths too much. I don't know that dental services shut down as much as other things, but now with as many vaccinations as there are, as many people that are vaccinated, and the fact that it's been 2 or 3 years and some of these kids have received care, the benefits of going out with the bus kind of outweigh the risks for the most part.
And how about staffing? I mean, you're talking about having hygienists as well as dental professionals there. I mean, was that a difficult part to get this staffed and going?
We do have some dentists that we pay. We do have some volunteer dentists and staff also. So we're still looking for more people to volunteer their time on the bus and deliver those professional services. So if anyone wants to volunteer, if you know any dentist, send them our way.
Well, also, if somebody is interested in their child receiving the services, I mean, what do they do now, or do they have to wait until the school contacts them?
It's best if they have Medicaid coverage. Anyone that is at or below 200% of the poverty level has Medicaid coverage or has not just simply has not seen a dentist in the past 6 months is eligible. Certainly you could contact our offices at Bethany if you want your child to receive services, and we could see if we could get that bus to your school. Sometimes we also find a way to transport kids from one school to the next. So the bus might not stop at every school, but the school will transport that child to a school where the bus is located. Because
it is so critically important. Can I ask you another question in regards to the pandemic? Bethany has always been very much a safety net for families. What have you noticed now that we're coming out of the pandemic? Is the need different, especially the mental health need for children and families, or what are you seeing at this point?
The need for the mental health services has skyrocketed in behavioral health services. So, you know, you'll hear in the schools more bullying, more fights, more things of that nature. So we're proud that we still offer school-based services. Yeah. So we have, you know, counselors and therapists that go in the schools, deliver the services within the school. It eliminates that transportation barrier for parents, and the kids are more likely to kind of stick with it if they get it during the school hours. So we've really seen the need increase for that. Yeah,
because the darkest days of the pandemic may be over, you know, as far as the quarantine and all that, but we really still don't know the mental health impact it's had on children and families.
It could last, you know, 10 years. Bethany went through the pandemic of 1918 with the Spanish flu, and then we saw the, you know, the Roaring 20s and the Great Depression, so you can kind of see some of those similar trends now, so it's kind of an interesting topic, but it'll take a while to get out of this. The social isolation those kids went through, you know, does have a ripple effect.
All right, but once again, the Give Kids a Smile mobile dental clinic is going to be up and running, and it's really an important part of the services that Bethany does provide.
Absolutely.
Christina McNamara Schmidt, the 39-foot mobile dental clinic bus hits the road in the coming days. You can check out Bethany's website for more information. On the air, on the radio, on the web, on your mobile device, and streaming on your computer. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory have been serving Quad City families and veterans since 1889. Whelan Presley Funeral Homes are located in Rock Island, Milan, and Reynolds, and are proud supporters of WQPT. Alternatives is a proud supporter of WQPT and has been serving our community for 40 years. Alternatives provides professional guidance to maintain independence and quality of life for older adults and adults with disabilities.